What is empiricism? Empiricism is a philosophical doctrine that holds the view that knowledge is derived from experience. Hence, for the empiricists, all knowledge begins with experience, and that the mind is like a blank sheet, or tabula rasa, which the human mind fills with ideas as she experiences the world through her 5 external senses. The empiricists, therefore, deny the contention of the rationalists that ideas are innate, that is, humans are born with imprinted ideas, knowledge, and principles. It must be noted that there are many types of experience. For example, we may talk of inner experience, such as dreaming, imagining, and fantasizing. However, this type of experience is not the one dealt with in empiricism. This is because when we talk of experience in philosophy, particularly in empiricism, we are specifically and exclusively referring to sensory experience. In particular, the adherents of empiricism are interested in explaining the origin of knowledge, with emphasis on how the human mind acquires knowledge and conceptual understanding. In fact, John Locke, a 17th century British philosopher, devoted Book 2 of his seminal work titled An Essay Concerning Human Understanding to explaining the origin and development of knowledge. Locke says that, first, there is the relationship between the subject, or the knower, and object, or the thing known. The subject then perceives the object through the 5 external senses. Now, according to Locke, through this process of sensation, the human mind forms simple ideas, such as the idea of a table or a book. Now, when we put together simple ideas, as Locke contends, we form complex ideas through the process of reflection. Locke understands reflection as the perception of the operations of our own mind within us as it employed about the ideas it has got. And for Locke, reflection may involve thinking, willing, believing, and doubting.
A pleasant day, everyone. Empirically objective truth. The development of this process was summarized by philosophers in order to attempt to find. So we have here René Descartes. Who is René Descartes? René Descartes is popularly known as rationalist. So as a rationalist, he do not believe that human senses could be trusted to observe the world. He was skeptical that human senses were accurate enough to make observations that will support a hypothesis. And he also suggested that human senses can be deceived sometimes, so it can give us mistaken information or impression, so we have reasons to not trust them. Second slide of my part. Famously, Descartes started his analysis of the world by saying, "I think, therefore I am," because he knew that he was thinking, and he at least knew that he was real. And Descartes began his analysis of the world from this point. The only thing that he is believing is he only exists. He truly exists. It is because he can think critically and he can perform such things. Tabula rasa, instead of having innate understanding of certain concepts, appears to believe that a newborn has no understanding, has no learning, has no knowledge, since the day he or she was born, which means blank state in Latin. So in the third box, we can see or we can read what John Locke argued and what he do believe. And in the fourth box, we can see the appearance or the image of John Locke. But if we think critically and logically, why babies are crying when they feel strange or they are hungry. It is because they do have innate knowledge, they do have innate understanding. So, in addition, in the second slide of my part, yes, human senses can be deceived sometimes, but sometimes it cannot be. It is because there are times that maybe it is correct or it is truly correct, like our intuition. It can be used or it is right sometimes, but it can't be used or human senses can't be used in general and important matters. In my last part or in my last slide, a third box, John Locke argued that we can gain or we can get knowledge or learnings by having experiences. But Plato is not truly agreed to John Locke. It is because by not having experience, we can have innate knowledge as a baby or as newborn.
In the Enlightenment during the 18th century, both George Berkeley in England and David Hume in Scotland became the leading exponent of empiricism. A lead preceded in the late 17th century by John Locke also in England, hence the dominance of empiricism in British philosophy. The goal of such experimentation is to apply theories to the real world of observation, records the findings in the form of empirical data, present them to the relevant audience. In the philosophy, the view that all concepts originate in the experience that all concepts are about to applicable to things that can be experienced or that all rationally acceptable beliefs or propositions are justifiable or knowledgeable only through experience. On the basis of the analysis of these doctrines of empiricism, the following aims of education may be derived to instill in a young mind such qualities as to be humane, friendly, having empirical and understanding, having a civil temper and wisdom. First, increasingly important, teaching has an empirical component. The empiricism of teaching asserts that there are identifiable traits of having effective teaching that can be used to improve one's teaching experience. Empiricism states that your understanding of the universe is to build experience, especially sensory experience. Our learning is founded on our observation and perception according to empiricism. Knowledge is impossible with experience.
Substantive empiricism is a parallel point of view about knowledge, assumes that the truth of logical mathematical proposition is determined, as is that of definition, tourist by the relationship between meanings that are established prior to experience. Substantive empiricism is about knowledge regards all the prior propositions as being more or less concealed tautologies. So first, what is empiricism? Empiricism is the idea that all learning comes from only experience and observation. The followers of types of empiricism believe that some fundamental ideas are initiate in humans upon birth. For example, they believe a baby's ability to breathe, to see, and nurse are all innate ideas that all known immediately with the use of the senses. And there are three types of empiricism. One is the classical empiricism. Is based on the belief that there is no such thing as innate or inborn knowledge. Like example, John Locke is the one of the most well-known empiricists. He claimed that mind is tabula rasa or blank slate of birth. Locke asserts that our experience of world provides us with knowledge. Second, the radical empiricism is this term from the beliefs that our knowledge of the world is based solely on our senses. If something is not experienced to our senses, it does not exist according to the radical empiricism. Radical empiricists rejected religion's belief because such beliefs cannot be investigated through our evidence of senses. And last, the moderate empiricism finds out the informations about moderate empiricism, philosophical doctrine that all knowledge is derived from experience. However, they also believe majority of our complex idea humans acquires in their life require the use of the senses in the other accurately understand the world.
So, the least going type of empiricism can be called or distinguished by partial empiricism. So, what do we mean by partial empiricism? According to this view, the real of the prior include some concepts that are not formal and some proportion that are substantially informative about the world. So, the followers of this type of empiricism accept the ideas as innate that are not fundamental level, while substantive empiricism would argue that the existing of God is something instilled people through sensory experience and their culture. However, the partial empiricist would be or would still accept the ideas of such God and the difference between the God and the evil as innate ideas people have at birth. However, again, they value the sense for gaining knowledge and experience to expand on these innate ideas. So what do we mean by innate ideas? The three distinctions have something to do with this, the interpretation of innate ideas. Why? In the broader sense, they want empiricists to vary on the degree to which they wanted to change the society based on the new ideas.
Simply put, empiricism is the idea that all learning comes from only experience and observations. The term empiricism comes from the Greek word for experience, empiria. The theory of empiricism attempts to explain how human beings acquire knowledge and improve their conceptual understanding of the world. It is also believed that knowledge of value is the world is acquired through sensory experiences, and that something not experienced with the senses does not exist. These empiricists are uninterested in logical proofs based on the inductive reasoning. They only trust observable principles. Radical empiricism stems from the belief that our knowledge of the world is based solely on our senses. If something is not experienced through our senses, it does not exist according to radical empiricists. Radical empiricists reject religious beliefs because such beliefs cannot be investigated through the evidence of the senses. This lesson introduces you to the philosophical theory of empiricism in which people gain knowledge of the world through their senses.